Gloria had a beautiful little daughter named Emily, who was only 3 years old. Gloria's boyfriend had left her when she got pregnant. So Gloria had to raise Emily all by herself. She worked hard every day to provide for Emily's needs. She would wake up early, get Emily dressed and ready for daycare, and then go to her job. After work, she would pick Emily up. Gloria was determined to give Emily a happy and loving life. She would read Emily stories, play with her, and sing her favorite songs. Emily loved her mom so much and would always run to hug her when she came home from work. Emily was a sweet and loving child. She would look up at Gloria with her big brown eyes and say, "Mommy, I love you." Gloria's heart would melt with love, and she would squeeze Emily so tight. Gloria hoped to find someone who would love and accept her and Emily. But every time a man showed interest in her, she would reveal that she had a 3-year-old daughter. She wanted to be upfront and honest about her situation, hoping that the right man would understand and accept her and her daughter. But time and time again, Gloria was disappointed. As soon as she mentioned Emily, the men would suddenly lose interest. They would make excuses, saying they weren't ready for a ready-made family or that they didn't want to take on the responsibility of raising someone else's child. Gloria felt like she was being rejected. She felt like she was being judged for her situation, like she was somehow less desirable because she had a child. The constant rejection took a toll on her self-esteem, and she started to wonder if she would ever find someone who truly loved and accepted her for who she was. One particularly painful experience stood out in her mind. She had met a man named Jack who seemed kind and charming. They had gone on a few dates, and Gloria had felt a spark of hope. But when she told him about Emily, he suddenly became distant and cold. He said he needed time to think, and Gloria never heard from him again. Feeling defeated, Gloria wondered if she would ever find a man who would love her and Emily unconditionally. She started to focus all her energy on raising her daughter, pouring her heart and soul into being the best mother she could be. As time went on, Gloria's frustration and disappointment began to turn into resentment towards Emily. She started to see her daughter as a hindrance to her finding a partner and building a new life. She thought to herself, if only I didn't have Emily, I would be married by now. I would have a happy family and a loving husband. Gloria began to feel like Emily was holding her back, like she was a burden that no one wanted to take on. She started to wonder if she would ever find a man who would accept her and Emily. The constant rejection and disappointment had taken a toll on her mind, and she started to doubt her own worth. Why can't I find someone who loves me for who I am, child and all? She thought. Am I not good enough? Am I not worthy of love and happiness? Gloria's mind was filled with negative thoughts and doubts. She started to feel like she was stuck in a rut, like she would never find a way out of her single motherhood. She began to question her own abilities as a mother, wondering if she was doing something wrong. Is it because I'm a single mom that no one wants me? Do they think I'm damaged goods or something? Gloria's self-doubt and frustration started to affect her relationship with her daughter. She began to feel short-tempered and irritable around her daughter, snapping at her for small things. Emily, sensing her mother's unhappiness, started to act out, seeking attention and affirmation. But each time, Gloria would scold her to leave her alone. The little innocent girl became scared of her once sweet mother she loved so much and who always prioritized her happiness. What changed now? She asked her innocent mind, shedding tears. One day, Gloria decided to visit her best friend, Sarah, who had always been a good listener and a source of comfort. As soon as she arrived at Sarah's house, her friend could see that something was wrong. Gloria looked tired, worried, and her usual sparkle was missing. Hey girl, what's going on? Sarah asked. You don't look all right. Is everything okay? Is Emily okay? Gloria tried to brush it off, but Sarah's observant eyes saw right through her. No, everything's fine, Gloria said, forcing a smile. Just a little stressed, that's all. But Sarah wasn't buying it. She knew Gloria too well. Gloria, we've been friends for years. I can tell when something's bothering you. Spill the beans. What's going on? Gloria hesitated, but Sarah's gentle prodding and empathetic tone eventually broke down her defenses. She burst into tears, pouring out her heart about the struggles of being a single mom, the rejection she'd faced. Sarah listened attentively, offering words of encouragement and support. Gloria, you're an amazing mother and an incredible person. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. And Emily is a blessing, not a burden. As Gloria cried and talked, Sarah held her hand and offered a comforting hug. Gloria, remember your worth and value come from within, not from someone else's opinion. She disagreed with Gloria's assessment of why men usually left when they found out she had a baby. Gloria, it's not because you're a single mom or because Emily is a burden. It's because you haven't met your real husband yet, Sarah said with conviction. Gloria raised an eyebrow, skeptical. What do you mean? I've been on plenty of dates and met plenty of men who seemed interested until they found out about Emily. Sarah shook her head. Those men weren't the right ones for you, Gloria, and trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I don't have a child, but men come and go, and I'm even older than you are. But I don't feel it's because of anything at all. I'm still waiting for my own husband to come along, and I have faith that when he does, everything will fall into place. Sarah was always the optimistic one, but this seemed like wishful thinking. But Sarah, how are so sure? Sarah smiled. Because I've seen it happen for others, and I believe it will happen for me too. And for you, Gloria, you just have to keep faith and keep your heart open. Your real husband will come along and love you and Emily unconditionally. Gloria wasn't convinced, but Sarah's words stuck with her. As Gloria walked back home from Sarah's house, she was lost in thought, replaying their conversation and feeling grateful for her friend's support. As she walked, a car pulled up beside her. The window rolled down, and a young man with a friendly smile asked, "Hey, do you need a lift? I'm headed in the same direction." Gloria hesitated for a moment, but something about his kind eyes put her at ease. "Sure, thank you," she said, getting into the car. As they drove, they chatted about everything from their jobs to their favorite books. Gloria found herself laughing and feeling more and more at ease. As they approached her neighborhood, the young man turned to her and said, "I have to say, I really enjoyed your company. Would you like to grab coffee with me sometime?" Gloria was taken aback but pleased by the invitation. "I'd like that," she said, smiling. They exchanged numbers, and he dropped her off at her doorstep. "I'm Max, by the way," he said, waving goodbye. Gloria watched him drive away, feeling a spark of excitement. Gloria and Max met, and their connection was instant. They talked for hours, sharing stories and laughter, and Gloria felt a spark she hadn't felt in a long time. Their conversation flowed effortlessly. Max was charming, kind, and genuinely interested in getting to know her. Gloria found herself feeling more and more comfortable around him. But there was one thing Gloria didn't mention, her daughter Emily. She had made a conscious decision to hide it from Max, fearing it might scare him off. As the days turned into weeks, Gloria and Max's connection grew stronger. They went on long walks, had deep conversations, and explored the city together. Gloria felt herself falling for him, but the weight of her secret grew heavier. One evening, as they sat on a park bench watching the sunset, Max turned to her and said, "Gloria, I feel like I've found someone special in you. I want to be with you, to explore this connection we have." Gloria's heart skipped a beat. She wanted to be honest, to tell him about Emily, but fear held her back. What if he walked away? What if he couldn't handle the responsibility of a child? "I feel the same way, Max. I really do." Gloria returned home that day with a heavy heart, her mind racing with thoughts of Max and her secret. She couldn't shake off the fear that had gripped her, the fear of losing Max, of watching him walk away like all the others. She thought about how much she had fallen in love with him, how much she wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. But could she really keep this secret from him? Could she really risk losing him again? As she walked into her house, Emily ran to her, eager to tell her about her day. Gloria forced a smile. She couldn't bear the thought of losing Max. She had to make a decision, and soon. She couldn't keep living with this secret, this fear. She had to find a way to tell Max about Emily, to trust him with her truth. But what if he walked away? What if he couldn't handle the responsibility of a child? Gloria felt a lump form in her throat as she thought about it. She couldn't watch that happen again. Not with Max. Not with the man she loved so deeply. Gloria's thoughts turned to her late mother, and a pang of sadness hit her. If only her mother was still alive, she would have taken Emily to stay with her, and Max would never have found out that Gloria was a mother. Her mother would have taken care of Emily, and Gloria could have started fresh with Max without the burden of her secret. But her mother had passed away a few years ago, and Gloria's father had remarried soon after. His new wife, Susan, was not fond of Gloria, and the feeling was mutual. Gloria knew that if she had asked her father to take Emily in, Susan would have made sure to make Emily's life miserable. Gloria's mind raced with thoughts of her mother and how she would have handled this situation. Her mother had always been her rock, her confidant, and her best friend. She would have known exactly what to do and how to make everything okay again. She felt a tear roll down her eyes as she wished, for the 100th time, that her mother was still alive. She missed her guidance, her love, and her support. Max took Gloria to the same garden where they had shared their first kiss. He led her to the same bench, got down on one knee, and pulled out a small box. Gloria's heart raced as she saw the diamond ring sparkling in the sunlight. Gloria, from the moment I met you, I knew you were special. You light up my world in ways I never thought possible. Will you marry me? Max asked, his eyes shining with love and adoration. Gloria was over the moon. She had dreamed of this moment, and here it was, finally happening. She nodded eagerly, tears of joy streaming down her face. Yes, yes, 1,000,000 times yes, she exclaimed. Max placed the ring on her finger, and they shared a kiss as the sun set behind them. Gloria felt like she was on cloud 9, her heart full of love and happiness. She couldn't wait to share the news with her best friend Sarah. She ran to her house, bursting with excitement. Sarah, I'm engaged. Max proposed to me, she squealed, waving her hand to show off the ring. Sarah screamed with delight, hugging Gloria tightly. I'm so happy for you, Gloria. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Welcome to the club, fellow bride-to-be. Sarah too had gotten engaged a few weeks ago, to a young man who returned back from overseas. They have been talking for a long time before he finally came back home to marry her. Gloria laughed, feeling like she was floating on air. She knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one that she would share with the love of her life, Max. And she couldn't wait to see what the future held for them. But wait, is Max aware of your daughter? Sarah asked her friend. Gloria's mood changed immediately, and she answered, no. Sarah asked her why she kept such secret. What if he finds out after the marriage? What would happen then? Sarah's question brought Gloria back down to earth. Her smile faded, and she looked at her friend with a worried expression. Sarah's eyes widened in surprise. Why haven't you told him, Gloria? That's a huge secret to keep from someone you're about to marry. Gloria sighed, feeling a mix of emotions. I was scared, Sarah. I didn't want to risk losing him. He's the first man who has ever made me feel truly loved and accepted, and I didn't want to jeopardize that. Sarah shook her head. Gloria, you can't keep this secret forever. What if Max finds out after you're married? How will he feel then? Gloria's heart sank at the thought. She had been so focused on her own fears and desires that she hadn't considered how Max might feel if he discovered her secret after the fact. She knew she had to tell him, but the thought of potentially losing him was terrifying. I know, Sarah. I'll tell him. I promise. That night, Gloria couldn't shake off Sarah's questions. What if Max finds out after the marriage? What would happen then? The words kept echoing in her mind, haunting her. She couldn't let her carefully constructed life fall apart again. As she paced the room, her thoughts shifted to Emily, who was likely sleeping soundly in the next room. A sinister idea began to form. This was the perfect moment to act, to eliminate the obstacle once and for all. Determined, Gloria steeled herself, ready to take the decisive step to secure her future. She carried a pillow and suffocated Emily until she struggled to death. Gloria picked up her phone, her hands trembling slightly, and dialed her friend Sarah's number. The plan was in motion, and she needed to play her part perfectly. Hello, Gloria. Sarah's voice came through the line, cheerful and unsuspecting. Sarah! Gloria's voice cracked as she forced herself to sound panicked and distraught. You need to come over right now. I don't know what's wrong with Emily. She's just lying there, and I can't wake her up. Oh my God, Gloria, I'm on my way. Sarah's voice turned urgent. Hang in there, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Gloria ended the call and let out a sigh, her expression shifting from fake distress to a sinister calm. Perfect, Gloria muttered to herself, her lips curling into a cold smile. She moved to the living room window, peeking through the curtains to ensure no one had noticed anything unusual. Everything was in place. A few minutes later, the sound of tires screeching to a halt outside signaled Sarah's arrival. Gloria took a deep breath, summoning tears to her eyes, and rushed to open the door before Sarah could even knock. Gloria, what happened? Sarah demanded as she rushed inside, her face pale with worry. It's Emily, Gloria sobbed, pointing towards the living room. I found her like this. I don't know what's wrong. Please help. Sarah hurried to Emily's side, kneeling down to check her pulse and breathing. Let's rush her to the hospital. Gloria nodded, wiping her fake tears away, and helped Sarah lift Emily. They carried her out to Sarah's car, carefully placing her in the back seat. As Sarah sped towards the hospital, Gloria sat in the back with Emily, her mind racing. Everything was going according to plan. No one would suspect her. She had played the role of the concerned mother flawlessly. Sarah glanced at Gloria through the rearview mirror, her face a mixture of fear and determination. We're almost there. Hang on, Emily. Gloria looked down at Emily, her expression unreadable. In her mind, the game had just begun and she was in complete control. As the hospital came into view, she knew she had everyone right where she wanted them. Emily was confirmed dead in the hospital. Gloria threw herself on the floor, crying bitterly, and everyone consoling her. Sarah stood by her all through, giving her words of encouragement and support until Emily was buried. A few months after Emily's tragic demise, the shock and grief began to fade and people moved on with their lives. For Gloria, however, Emily's death was a carefully orchestrated event, the final step in her plan to secure Max as her own. The secret she carried, the existence of her child from a previous relationship, had driven her to desperate measures. Gloria and Max grew closer, finding solace in each other's company. Their wedding was a modest affair, held in the town's historic church. The small sanctuary was filled with close friends and family, all there to support the couple. Gloria, radiant in her simple yet elegant gown, felt a rush of triumph. She had finally succeeded in marrying the man of her dreams, with no obstacles in her way. Max, looking dapper and content, seemed to share her optimism. Life after the wedding was everything Gloria had envisioned. She threw herself into creating a warm and loving home, determined to keep her dark secret hidden. She dreamt of having many children with Max, believing that each new life would solidify her place in his heart and help her forget the lengths she had gone to achieve her dream. Gloria and Max had been married for 3 years, and their home, though filled with love, was silent without the cry of a child. Gloria had tried everything within her power to conceive. She had meticulously tracked her ovulation, followed every piece of advice from doctors and well-meaning friends, and even resorted to various traditional remedies suggested by elders. Despite her efforts, there was no sign of pregnancy. Every month brought hope and, subsequently, crushing disappointment. Gloria would often sit in the beautifully decorated house, imagining the laughter and cries that should have filled the space. Max, always supportive, tried to reassure her that they still had time, and that their love for each other was enough, but Gloria couldn't help but feel incomplete. They had visited several specialists, each offering different explanations and treatments, but none had worked. The couple had undergone numerous tests. Max's results were always normal, while Gloria's tests varied, sometimes showing minor issues but nothing definitive. The uncertainty gnawed at her. The emotional strain began to take its toll on their relationship. Gloria became more withdrawn, often lost in thoughts of what might be wrong with her body. One evening, after another painful visit to the doctor, Gloria broke down. She and Max sat on the couch, her tears soaking his shirt as he held her tightly. "What if this never happens for us, Max?" she sobbed. "What if I can never give you a child?" Max gently lifted her chin so she could look into his eyes. "Gloria, you are enough for me. You are my family, my everything. Yes, I want us to have children, but not at the cost of losing you in the process. I need you to remember that I love you no matter what." Gloria felt a small measure of comfort in his words. but the emptiness inside her remained. The next day, Gloria was in the kitchen when she heard a heavy knock at the door, with her mother-in-law's voice roaring above the roof. "Is there no one in this house?" Mrs. Agnes shouted. Gloria rushed to open the door and her mother-in-law pushed her aside, ignoring her greetings. "Max, where is my son?" she asked, not directing the question to anyone in particular. Suddenly, Max came into the sitting room and embraced his mother. "Mom, you didn't even tell us you were coming." "Yes, that's because I came for something very important." "What happened, Mom? Is everything all right?" "Nothing is all right at all." "Max, my son," she bellowed, turning to face him with a look of determined fury. "You need to marry another wife, a real woman who can bear you children. I cannot sit and watch you waste your time with this barren woman." Max, caught between the two most important women in his life, looked helplessly from his mother to his wife. "Mother, please calm down," he pleaded, trying to temper the situation. "Gloria and I are trying. These things take time." "Time?" his mother scoffed, her eyes blazing. "How much time do you need? You've been married for 3 years. 3 years and still no grandchildren for me to hold." Gloria felt tears well up in her eyes. She had been struggling with infertility, silently enduring the pain and disappointment month after month. She wanted a child more than anything, and hearing her mother-in-law's harsh words felt like a cruel reminder of her deepest fears and failures. "Mom," Gloria began, "we are doing everything we can. We're seeing doctors, we're taking treatments." "Doctors and treatments?" Mrs. Agnes interrupted, her voice dripping with disdain. "What good are those if they haven't given any results? You need to understand, Gloria, my son deserves to be a father. Our family line needs to continue. If you can't do that, then you need to step aside." Max took Gloria's hand in his, a gesture of solidarity and love. "Mother, you need to stop. Gloria is my wife, and I love her. We are going to get through this together. I won't abandon her. I can see clearly that. You have bewitched my son, but I'm here now to make sure I break your wings. Max, my son, I have already found you a good wife who would bear me grandchildren. Don't worry, my son, she will be here soon." Gloria cried herself to sleep that night. Her mother-in-law's harsh words kept ringing in her head. The biting critique about her failure to conceive echoed, each repetition carving deeper wounds in her heart. She tossed and turned, the words blending with her own thoughts, until she couldn't distinguish between them. "Why can't I get pregnant?" she questioned herself, her thoughts swirling in the darkness. "Is there something wrong with me? Am I not trying hard enough? Am I not good enough?" Each question felt like a dagger, piercing her already fragile self-esteem. Memories of the many doctor's appointments, the invasive tests, and the endless cycles of hope followed by crushing disappointment came flooding back. She remembered how she had started with optimism, each new treatment or method bringing a fresh wave of hope. But as months turned into years, that hope had eroded, replaced by a creeping sense of inadequacy. Gloria's tears soaked her pillow, the physical manifestation of her emotional turmoil. She tried to silence the cruel voices in her head, but the harder she tried, the louder they seemed to become. Her mind wandered to the future, imagining a life where she might never experience the joys of motherhood. It felt like a lonely and barren path. She thought of her husband, Max, who had always been supportive and loving. Yet she couldn't shake the fear that he might also be harboring doubts, questioning whether their life together would be incomplete without a child. She worried about letting him down, about failing in the one aspect of their life that mattered so deeply to both of them. As the hours crept by, Gloria's exhaustion eventually overpowered her restless mind, pulling her into a fitful sleep, and her dreams were haunted by images of her late daughter, Emily. Emily was shedding tears and asking, "Mummy, why?" Gloria woke up from her sleep, sweating and panting. "I wish I never killed her," she said, crying bitterly.